Good evening YouTube and welcome to episode 5 of Project S2000. In today's video we're going to be fitting a set of budget, entry-level coilovers to the S2000 to replace those horribly leaky, rusty ones that I've got on there currently. My name's James Stone and welcome to Project S2000. So of the powers of social media, I was contacted by a company called Maxpeedingrods. Now they said to me, James, we've been watching your video, you're going to need some suspension, which you've mentioned, and we may have a kit that will do just the job for you. So they reached out, like I say, said they'd send a kit out for me to trial, said, look, we want your honest opinion. We're not looking for anything hyped up. Just give us an honest review of the kit on the car. So I thought, well, I need suspension. This is going to be the perfect opportunity. They sent me over trial clips as well to show you what products they do. It's not just coilovers, it seems to be turbos, conrods, all sorts. So I'll overlay that now. So for those that are familiar with the channel, I have modified a lot of vehicles over the year. I've got quite a collection at the moment. And like I say, I've got the E46 M3 that's got £2,000 worth of Öhlins coilovers arriving at some point. I've got the Clio 172 Cup that's also got good coilovers on it, Bilstein kit, so pretty decent. And in today's video, like I say, I just thought, you know what, I need the dampers. It's going to be fun to trial them out. Let's see how we get on. For those who've been watching the channel, we have been waiting a very, very long time for Öhlins coilovers for the E46 M3 build. Now, we're up to about 13 weeks. And as I say, Maxpeedin Racing got in contact, agreed to send out a kit. And 6 days later, oh wow. Like, wow. Not what I was expecting to see for a budget kit, Jesus. So we've got dust seals in there, anodized collars, powder coated bodies. Customer service card. Do you know what, like, and I'm not just saying that because these guys have kindly sent the kit out for me to try, but man, the things have come a long way. Like, this actually looks really, really good. I mean, I'm super excited to get it on the car, but yeah, let's get it unboxed. So for those of you that watched the introduction episode to Project S2000, that very famous time when I picked it up with C's brakes from Weymouth, the big thing for me was the standard ride height. It just did not look like a sporty car at all. So I definitely wanted to address that. And when those new rotor wheels arrived, or new to me, we fitted them to the car and it just looks so high. So I made the decision, a little bit ghetto, to chop the standard springs because I knew with the rear dampers leaking, I was never going to be using it on the road and I just wanted to see what it was going to look like. Once I'd fitted the wheels and chopped the original springs, I then started to remove all the soft and hard top components that were left over from the car. As I mentioned in the introduction, it's going to be an open top B-Road Blaster now. A lot of weight came out of the car. I would estimate with the seats 70, 80 kilos, if not more, just from the normal guts of the roof, the frame for the soft top, the seats were now out. And the car, even with the chopped springs, was again sitting incredibly high. So I knew I definitely needed to address this and it was going to look fantastic with the offset once I finally got that suspension sorted. So fitting the coilovers is pretty straightforward. The only real difficulty with the Honda S2000 is in the rear on the UK passenger side damper is the fuel filler neck. It's right in the way of where you need to get for those nuts to undo it. But essentially jack the car up, put it on axle stands, undo the 4 nuts on the top mount, undo the lower bolt, which I think was either a 19 or a 17 mil, and everything comes apart pretty straightforward. You can then just fit the coilover units, and they've all got adjustable coilover collars so that you can change the ride height to how you want it to be. The fronts, again, pretty straightforward. Once the car's all jacked up, you just need to undo the top mount, the lower mount, and you also have to do the upper wishbone, and there's just 2 bolts holding that. Thankfully, even mine being a rusty coastal car, they came out really easy, so I can only assume they've been out before. But undid the upper wishbone, pulled all the front damper out, new one went in, and with the first fit, obviously because there was no real guides or experience of these that I've seen on the market for the S2000 with the ride height, I just went with sort of midway on the threads. Now, the front damper has all the retaining brackets, so all your original hose can be held in place. It's all adjustable on there to get the fit absolutely perfect. And put the car back down on the ground. The rear I'd actually set to maximum drop, and because of the weight loss on it, the height you see now is as low as I can put these coilovers, but I would dread to think what it looked like on standard unchopped springs, because there is so much weight out of the rear that it has really raised the rear ride height. So the rear is set to the maximum load that it can go on, and again, if you had a soft top or even a hard top, you can expect it to sit even lower. But I'm quite happy with that rake look where the rear's up and the front's down. For me, I've always liked the cars like that. The Clio's been done like that. The M3 is going to be set up like that. So really pleased now with how it's looking. The fronts, initially put it back on the ground, look pretty close to the standard height that I'd done with the chop springs. I thought, yeah, let's jack it back up. And the beauty is with those collars, it takes 5 minutes, wind them down, and then I've got that ultimate stance look without being looking stupid or broken. The question will be how I get on with speed bumps, because it is low. I've got that splitter on there as well, but just sat there on the driveway, looks absolutely fantastic. Now, at the time of making this video, the kit I've purchased was £230, which I think for you US guys is probably going to be what, $250, $260. That's, you couldn't even replace it with 1 new damper or even 4 pattern dampers for the full kit. So it is going to be a question of how long the kit lasts. Do I have any issues on the road? But for that sort of money, for the adjustment, it's crazy how well priced it is. And like I say, the real test is obviously going to be when we get it on the road. Something that is really surprising for a kit of this price range is you'd be lucky to get the adjustable coilover damping. In the kit's defense, you wouldn't even normally be able to buy a set of lowering springs for that sort of price. So it's certainly very, very cheap. There's no denying that. And the initial impressions I showed from the unboxing are, it seems to have a lot of good features like adjustable damping. It seems there's about 20 clicks in the damping of adjustment. You can adjust the collars in there so you can change the ride height. So yeah, very curious to see how we're going to get on. And obviously I'm not going to do a lot of racetrack driving. I'm not looking for lap times. For me, if it feels good on the road, drops the ride height, even if it delivers the same level as the OEM damper, obviously my original ones were leaking, but a factory unit, I'll be more than thrilled with fitting the kit. The only thing I did have to do that the coilover kit didn't include is on the standard dampers, front and rear, they do have a nut welded to them. Now, it wasn't a normal thread that I had in the garage, so I couldn't take the standard bolt and just put a nut on the end. So I actually had to cut my old damper nuts off, and I will let the guys know at Maxpeedingrods that that is something you're going to need if you don't want to damage your original dampers. You could just use a generic M12 bolt and nut as well. That would work perfectly, but I didn't have one at the right length. So it's the only thing I had to do really above the standard kit, was just to take that nut off so that I could secure it all correctly. I will probably, like I said, go with an M12 nut and bolt to finish it up properly, but for the time being, this is going to be perfect just to make sure it's on the ground, and it all took the original torque settings. So the big question, well, how are they going to perform on the road? Unfortunately, the car is not roadworthy at the moment. I've been ploughing the hours into it over the lockdown weekends. It's getting pretty close now, so I'm going to obviously do a full review when I take the kit out on the road. Living in London, we've got some pretty sketchy roads as well, potholes, speed bumps, so it won't just be what's it like on perfect conditions. I'll have a play with the adjustable damping, see how it really performs, and like I say, for that money, the finish so far looks good. Everything's powder coated, the collars are all anodized. See how it holds up. Are the seals going to last in the kit? It's going to be a big thing for me. Is it going to be road compliant damping? I mean, with it on the driveway, you're never really going to know, but so far, like I say, It's done the job with the ride height. It should now pass the MOT because my rear dampers were leaking so badly, which is a common problem with the S2000, that it would never pass with the dampers that were on there. And at the point when they contacted me, I genuinely didn't have a clue what kit I was going to run. I'd seen so many different variations. I thought even if this kit lasted a year, 2 years, it's more than perfect for me. As you've probably seen as I was showing the damper shots going in then, the wishbones certainly need that rust removed. I'm either going to have to get them vapor blasted and painted, which I will do. There's just no point in doing it now because I'm going to have to change all the bushes in there. They're all very tired, 150,000 miles. And I just want it all tight again. So when I do take the arms off, we'll get the PowerFlex bushes in, put it all back together, powder coated, so it'll just look lovely and fresh in there. And like I said, hopefully prevent any future corrosion on those arms. So what's going to be in the next episode for Project S2000? Well, obviously going to need to put some seats in there at the moment. I'm just left with the driver's side runner. Can't actually drive the car. And then I think as it stands, even un-geoed, just with the coilovers and the old bushes, I'm going to get it in for MOT. We're going to find out what the situation with that is, because obviously there's no more point in me really ploughing loads more hours into it if there's some pretty serious failures ahead of me. So going to try and book MOT for the beginning of May. Going to definitely need to do brake discs and pads because it will fail on that. There's actually no pad material left on the rear from that intro video. And fingers crossed, if we get the green light that it's just advisories or minor stuff, we'll be doing the road test very shortly. So I'm going to be very intrigued to see how that car runs. And if I've managed to save 100, 120, 130 kilos by gutting everything out of it, it's going to go well. It wasn't a slow car before, so I'm really excited to see how it's going to perform on the road with that weight loss. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like I say, this is part 1 of the suspension really. Part 2 will be out on the road when we actually test the kit and see what it's like with some miles under its belt. If you want to see more, check out the playlist of the S2000. I've gone through all the arch fitting, the rust cutting out. It's had some hours put into it. But thanks for watching, guys. Until next time.